temper, however great, it may be justifiable or it may not be justifiable, but it works like a matchstick. It tries to burn whatsoever comes on its path, and in the process, that matchstick also gets burnt. Namaste, everyone. Today, we shall look at some of the aspects on how these samskaras come to fore in the field that is in osmosis with our soul. What is this field? Just as every planet or star has its own gravitational field, likewise, each soul has its signatory field. This field is always in flux that warps or expands or contracts based on our attitude. The feelings of the heart shapes this attitude. When you are joyful or cheerful or internally so grateful, the heart opens up far and wide. But moment it encounters something you don't like, which is so unpleasant, it simply contracts. Like that Lajavanti plant, touch me not plant, it just folds in. Thus the field of consciousness keeps changing. My Guruji, Pujya Babuji Maharaj, often used the word knots, K-N-O-T-S in English, and granthis while he spoke in Hindi, while referring these yogic chakras. Because yogic chakras, it gives you the idea of spin, a circular movement, which is true. It can be a very precise, harmonious, circular movement when it is fully evolved. But before that, what happens? It doesn't revolve as much. It remains in the form of a knot or a granthi. And we all carry that. Instead of the chakra or the will, we are carrying the granthis in us. It is quite significant and meaningful to use this word granthi or the knots. Why? Because if I had to explain this in poetic way, in a ghazal style, something that was sung much earlier by Jagjit Singh in his 80s or 90s, प्यार का पहला खत लिखने में वक्त तो लगता है, नए परिंदों को उड़ने में वक्त तो लगता है, गांठ अगर लग जाए तो फिर रिश्ते हो या दूरी, लाख करे कोशिश खुलने में वक्त तो लगता है. It simply conveys, be it relationship or be it a thread, you end up forming knots of relationship or knots of a thread, and it takes time to unravel it and make it straight and simple. Imagine you have one thread, you keep in the wallet. Over a period of time, it will get tangled up. You may not have to do anything at all, but it will get tangled. If you store two or more together, you will be surprised to see complex entanglement between these two or three or multiple threads. Something like this happens with our emotional energies arising out of feelings. Feelings are influenced by so many other factors. All these, they come together and form a complex network. The footprint of this energy, it settles in our subtle bodies, which we carry life after life, every time there is transmigration of our soul. With whom do we share and discuss the ideas, thoughts and feelings? Naturally, our dearest ones, our close friends, or our colleagues. Each thought or idea or feeling exchanged will create wide range of ripples. The concepts that resonate will find some level of reinforcements, While when we disagree, we end up forming knots, emotional knots. These knots affect our field of consciousness. One of the elements of this field of consciousness is ego, ahankar. Once the ego is bruised because of disagreement, dissension, God help. That is why we struggle with our loved ones more than anyone else. We don't tangle with strangers in forming emotional knots. As in how we develop understanding as a result of purification through the heartfulness cleaning practices, we develop clarity, we develop confidence and courage. Those qualities arise from the spiritual conditions when we are fearless. Fear is the result of not being able to understand situations. When we have the ability to love and we are absorbed in love, we understand our circumstances and our loved ones. When you have a thread and it gets entangled, a knot is formed. Similarly, thoughts that get entangled up to form a vibratory patterns, it resembles a knot. Feelings that get jumbled up create a knot-like state at a specific point in our system. How does this happen? Understanding brings happiness, peace, and joy. And misunderstanding always brings about restlessness, confusion, and a lack of clarity. Our understanding and appreciations is also based on our conditioning. Let us revisit existentially a vital concept of clarity. Lack of clarity makes us lose confidence, as a result of which we lose our own radar, we lose our own inner compass each time it happens. Along with losing our compass and our conscience, we remain unsettled and irritated, even up to losing our temper. Temper, however great, it may be justifiable or it may not be justifiable, but it works like a matchstick. It tries to burn whatsoever comes on its path, and in the process, that matchstick also gets burnt. Anger is the biggest poison, it ruins our spiritual stature. Anyway, when all these offshoots are present, such as anger or misunderstandings, they end up creating toxic inner environment, starting with ourselves and ends up taking our family in its gambit. Eventually, if we continue like this, we get labeled as being toxic person or a person with a short fuse. The consequences are like a butterfly effect. This weakness destroys relationships. So cleaning comes to our rescue. With each evening, we clean off our impressions made during the day. In the day, whenever we feel the need to remove something that is troubling us, remember to sit quietly for a few minutes and do an emergency cleaning session.